moment when I was in the 4th grade. We were studying history, and like everyone else, my textbook was open. However, I wasn't following along like the other kids. Instead, I look at the pictures and imagine myself in that period in time. I'd imagine I was a Native American woman playing with her children, or a gold seeker in California's gold rush, a padre in a mission, or even a car cruising in Southern California's freeways. It was a way to leave my life and be someone else for a change, someone who didn't have to deal with my daily insecurities. When I played these roles, I knew nothing could ever go wrong, and nothing was unpredictable because my imagination wouldn't allow it. Out of the blue, my teacher yelled out my name from across the room. Scared, I looked up from my textbook and faced him. The room was quiet. When he began to talk, I felt like running far away. He brought up my work habits and my mom in front of my friends and classmates. I felt like I was the biggest failure, but I focused on the fact that there were new episodes in Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! I guess I wasn't the best student. Actually, looking back, I didn't pass many of my classes, but I always passed my art classes. Those classes seemed to be the most engaging and exciting for me. I went through elementary and middle school without a care about my schoolwork. My canvases were my school notebooks, my arms, and even my bedroom walls. Ironically, I attended a high school with a visual arts magnet, but I only found about it months later, after I've already left the school. I attended school back then because I had to. I walked into classes because I was scheduled to. I spent most of my time looking at a clock that seemed to be moving backwards. Falling behind, I made the decision to enroll myself into a continuation high school. At this new school, I was surrounded by works of arts and many more artists. A friend named Steve invited me to see him perform in an art gallery. The gallery was a block away from school. When I walked into the studio for the first time, I found myself looking at a painting and trying to read it, as opposed to imagining myself in the picture. I was introduced to the artist, and he came across as a nice guy. Intrigued by his artwork, I came back and asked him if he could teach me how to paint. He said he would teach me how to paint if I agreed to stay in school. Norm Maxwell became my mentor and guided me into the art world. After my first painting, I was encouraged to study other artists. I made several trips to the art section of Barnes & Noble. I developed an understanding of the difference between good art and fast food art. While painting, I developed my own techniques and found myself losing my surroundings and focused on the now of the painting. I spent most of my time after school in the gallery, and when I wasn't in the zone, I was listening to conversations. Many characters walked in and out of the gallery. Some told their life stories, others started philosophical conversations. Some brought up social issues and political issues. I was intrigued. Norm was a political artist. Through him, I began to see things differently and ask hard questions about the world. I didn't really have any goals until I started painting. Once I placed myself in an environment where a lot of intellect seemed to flow, I realized I'd have to get an education in order to be well-informed. I knew I had to be able to tell the difference between truth and lies, to understand how the world really works. I realized that in addition to my art, I would need to go to college. And Norm and his wife's constant reminders didn't hurt. Each of my paintings may not have meaning, but they had purpose. Through my paintings, I found peace and security, edited beginnings and touched up endings. I visited a world of concentration and pure imagination. I escaped from a light and into a world of honesty through a brushstroke, spilled paints, colors, and true expression of the soul. I found ground even when I was spacing out. I found myself through the process. I realized that if I wanted a beautiful future, I'd have to create it and put in effort to create a masterpiece. Thank you.